For years, the cost and supply of cocoa have remained relatively stable, making chocolate an accessible luxury for consumers around the world. However, a drastic shift has occurred, leaving the industry grappling with skyrocketing prices and severe shortages of cocoa beans. The upheaval was triggered by a combination of aging cocoa trees, plant diseases, and fluctuating weather patterns, pushing the market into a volatile state where prices are at the mercy of speculative trading and reactive supply chain moves. Hi, I'm Jürgen, Business Development Manager, Human Nutrition at Manuchar in Asia. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the use of Carob powder as a replacement of cocoa powder to address the cocoa supply chain crisis. The graph here clearly illustrates the sudden and explosive rise of cocoa prices since early 2023. And with high cocoa prices, production costs of finished products have been on the rise and profit margins have gone down. Consequently, numerous manufacturers have made efforts to offset rising costs by shrinking the size of their end products, also called shrinkflation. However, obviously, there are limits to such attempts. Alternatively, manufacturers have started to look for solutions that may help reduce the use of cocoa powder by reformulating recipes. In other words, skimpflation. The most widely presented solutions come from flavor houses. Usually, they suggest reducing the cocoa powder in a recipe by adding cocoa flavor or extract to compensate for the loss of chocolate flavor. However, this solution does not compensate for the loss of material in a recipe, since flavors and extracts are concentrated ingredients and cocoa powder is much bulkier. Oftentimes, ingredients like maltodextrin or malt flour, which is germinated and dried cereal grain, are recommended as fillers. Unfortunately, the use of these ingredients requires another tweak of the recipe because they bring along their own sweetness, texture, and/or flavor. To reduce the adverse impact and the perceived negative impression of skimpflation, Manuchar offers a solution that requires much less modification to the original recipe: Carob powder as a replacement of cocoa powder. Carob, also referred to as the carob pot, carob bean, or locust bean, is the fruit of the evergreen carob tree. The carob tree is native to the Mediterranean region and the Middle East. It is widely cultivated for its edible fruit, which takes the form of seed pods. Each carob pod contains seeds that sit in the pot. The ripe, dried, and sometimes toasted pod is often ground into carob powder. The tree seeds are used to produce locust bean gum or carob gum, a common thickening agent used in food processing. Now, why is carob powder such a good replacement of cocoa powder? It's due to a similar taste, flavor, and texture to cocoa powder. Due to these comparable characteristics and relatively low price, manufacturers have started to replace cocoa powder up to a point of around 40 to 50% without affecting the taste and other properties. In addition, when finished product compositions are compared, carob powder may reduce the added sugar content because of its high natural sugar content. And even though cocoa powder and carob powder have very similar taste profiles, there are slight differences. In this graph, you can see taste profile for muffins made with 5% cocoa powder and 5% carob powder, in this case 100% substitution. As you can see in the quantitative descriptive analysis graph, the main sensory differences are in the field of more intense sweetness, less bitterness, and less chocolatey flavor. However, not all carob powder is the same. In fact, carob powder comes in 3 different roasting levels with 3 different sugar levels, as you can see in this table. The light roasted carob powder has a high sugar content, which is much less for the dark roasted version. The dark roasted version, on the other hand, is more bitter. And if the actual chocolate flavor of the end product is suffering when a large part of cocoa powder is replaced, this can be compensated by adding chocolate flavor or extract. Manuchar is cooperating with various flavor houses to provide a standard solution, but we can also provide custom-made solutions if required. Despite these slight differences with cocoa powder, it's very well possible to select the most suitable Carob powder that matches the type of cocoa powder in a recipe. Manuchar has already produced prototypes of cookies and 3-in-1 chocolate milk powder in our Asian Regional Innovation and Application Laboratory in Manila, in the Philippines, and we are happy to share our findings. Alternatively, we can prepare prototypes in our lab for you based on your own recipe. This image shows a color comparison of cookies prepared with cocoa powder and Carob powder. The recipe that we used to bake these wafer-type chocolate cookies included butter, sugar, baking soda, salt, flour, and cocoa powder or Carob powder as a 100% replacement. Likewise, the 3-in-1 chocolate milk results look like this picture. In this case, we use a simple recipe with only 3 ingredients: skim milk powder, glazing sugar, and cocoa or Carob powder as a 100% replacement. Obviously, the color of the end product differs when using different Carob powder product forms. Also, the taste varies, with the light roasted versions leaning towards the sweet side and the dark roasted versions leaning towards the bitter side. In general, we found the medium roasted version most suitable for replacing cocoa powder in cookies and 3-in-1 chocolate milk. Conclusion: with a little tweaking, Carob powder is suitable replacement for cocoa powder. The results of scientific research and Manuchar's in-house findings prove that it is possible to utilize Carob powder to replace cocoa powder in chocolate cookies, in chocolate, and in 3-in-1 chocolate milk production in order to reduce production cost and/or improve nutritional values such as higher fiber, less added sugar, and less caffeine, with an agreeable sensory attribute. Manuchar has composed a white paper with all these findings and more, and if you want to receive the complete white paper, please drop us a message at carob.powder@manuchar.com.